Hello there. Thank you for joining me. The name of today's painting is Texas Bluebonnets. The whole foreground, let me show you. Let's go to the canvas just a minute. Let me show you. This area down in here, the foreground area, is just going to be covered with bluebonnets. This is a path in here. It's going to be covered with bluebonnets. Going to sprinkle a few back up in here, all over the hills. They're sort of flat hills because this is Texas. So let's just go to the palette and get started. This is just a real exciting painting. You're going to love it. We're going to mix white and a touch of Hansa yellow. And we're going to start painting in our horizon. And we're going to paint upward maybe 2.5 inches. If you go a little bit higher, or if you don't go quite as high, if you go, well, if you go down into your tree shapes a little bit too more than I'm doing, that won't hurt. What we're doing now is not real important. The only important thing about this right now is you do not want a straight line across your canvas this way. You want some of these strokes to go a little bit higher. You want to keep your edges ragged at all times. This is going to be a big tree here, so let's move over. Fill in the rest of the sky on this side. Okay, now I'm going to wash my brush, go back to the palette, and load with white with the touch of alizarin crimson. I just want to sprinkle a little of this color in the sky, just sort of here and there, not making any big shapes with it. Sort of a patchwork effect. White and alizarin crimson. Now let's go over to the other side and do the same thing. A little bit of paint sliding off of my brush there. This also acts as a buffer between the blue that we're just about to lay on. So we're going back to the palette again. White and cerulean blue. And then we're going to the top of the canvas and just fill in the rest of the sky. Thin that just a little bit. White and cerulean blue. Look how pretty that is. Okay, back to the canvas. We're going to fill in the rest of the sky. I think I'll add a little more white to that mixture. There we go. Have you ever been to Texas in bluebonnet time? That is a sight, if you ever see it one time, you will never forget it. It really should be considered one of the wonders of the world. Because they grow over all of the states, surrounding states, but it is the Texas state flower. I happened to have been there one time in Fort Worth. I was teaching a seminar in bluebonnet time. It's the first time I'd ever seen it. I could not believe my eyes. I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it. Okay, now I'm going to wipe my brush. See if I can blend out a few of these little brush strokes. All the way across. No point in going down into the colored area, the other brighter colored areas, because I want to put a cloud there. And for that, I'm going to use white with just a touch of the yellow. I already have my cloud shapes almost established, don't I? All I have to do is just sort of tip them. You don't really have such billowy clouds in the West, I don't think. Now I'm acting like I'm an authority. I've been there very few times. But I've never seen just big billowing clouds. And I'm always on the lookout for something to paint. Now let's put a little wisp of a cloud above this one. And I'm going to take my little trusty little mop brush, do a little softening at the bottom of that cloud. Okay, that looks real good. Now if you want to make your clouds jump forward to really show up, you can darken behind them in a few little spots. Let's see. Let's put a little shadow area here down in the cloud, maybe one right here. Then I'll take my trusty little mop again and soften. See how that just pushed those clouds forward. Okay, now let's work in this area just a minute. We're going to place some background trees in there. Let's see. Let me get a stiff brush for that. Let's go to the palette and mixed burnt umber, sap green, a little bit of alizarin crimson, a little bit of white. Want these trees to be kind of soft in value, sort of a brownish, greenish color. They're going to go right across here, and I'm going to work all the way across the horizon this time. I'm going to lay them in, and then I'm going to push them up. I'm just going to take the brush and push them up and make tree shapes out of them. Okay, here we go. Every so often I'm going to pick up a little more alizarin crimson because that really does give you a pretty warm effect. If you get too much alizarin, it's going to give you a hot effect though, so try to be be a little bit careful with it. This is going to be a bigger tree right here. Let's just go ahead and push it in. And let's stipple the tree tops. Now I think I'll pick up a little more green there because it's getting a little bit too warm. I want some conical shaped trees. You don't see too many of this type out there, but it adds a lot to the painting. Bluebonnet time in Texas. One time I was there, I bought some, I was so carried away, that was the time that the bluebonnets were cleaning my brush down here. I was so carried away with the sight that I bought some seed and took them home, and oh, I was going to grow those things. And I fooled and fiddled and fooled and fiddled, and I don't have bluebonnet one. I don't know what happened. And they say, oh, they're easy to grow. Oh, yeah, they're wild. Oh, yeah, nothing to it. I said, well, you just come to my house and give it a try. I'm stippling with the edge of the brush there. Now I'm going back to the cabin. I want to push some foliage over the cabin to kind of nestle it. I've been teaching seminars in Fort Worth for about, I think about 8 years now. I have relatives in Texas too. My husband has relatives in Texas, and I'm still going to be working in this area. I'm taking the mop brush and I want to push these back into the distance just a little bit by very gently softening. Very easily. Can you see them just disappearing? Looking so good I can hardly stand it. Now I'm going to continue in this area just for a minute. I'm going to fill in the greenery that nestles the cabin down in the grass, or the grassy area. Let's come on this side and do the same thing. I'll go to a bigger brush because that's we got a lot of this green to fill in, and there's no point in just kind of playing around with it. All of this is going to be green across here too. Sap green and burn, but if I change colors every so often, a dip of alizarin. If I change colors, I'll tell you. If I remember it, I will. I promise. I promise thee I will tell you. Let's see. We got a path that's going to come through here. Takes a few minutes to lay this dark color in, but it's so necessary. This is the underpainting. This is the shadow area. And it's just something that has to be done. You don't like it, you don't even think it's pretty. Your painting really looks terrible about this stage, but it's just something that absolutely has to be done. Okay, move it, Norma. I'm tightening up the path a little bit and kind of narrowing it in the back, and doing that on purpose. Perspective-wise, you'd have to. You have no choice. Now, we have some sort of like little, we're going to have some grass that overhangs here in a few minutes, so let's go ahead and put our shadows in so that this portion will look like it's raised. Okay, now I'm going to stop real quickly and fill in the path with a mixture. And you can watch me mix it on the palette if you'd like. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre, a little bit of white. We're going to fill in this whole path area now. Now these colors are starting to play beautifully together, aren't they? Even that dark, ugly mixture on the in the green area is working pretty with this red. Green and red, Christmas colors. Compliments. Let's pull the path a little bit farther out through here. Okay, and I'm going to soften these edges down just a little bit into the grassy area. I think I'll pull up here a little bit. Make me kind of a little overhang there too. Soften my edges, pull the path up into the ground area. Right on up into the ground area. See how that made that ground stand up where it was flat? Okay, now this is going to be so pretty. You're going to get so excited over this. Let's use white and yellow ochre. Little bit of sap green. White, yellow ochre, little bit of sap green. And create some banks. overhangs. How about the other side? Let's place 1 or 2 over in here. Let's put 1 a little bit lower right here. Okay, now while we're working with that color, we can add some highlights back in our back middle ground area, right through here. And I'm going to go back now and soften those just a little bit. Now another one's going to come across here, but it's going to take a minute before I can do that. I've got to lay the cabin in first, but I'm getting my perspective and I see it's looking great. Looking good. Oh, I love that. The way looks worn, old and worn. Well, it's kind of like they took a bulldozer and cut that out, doesn't it? Okay, for the cabin, we're going to use burnt sienna, a little bit of yellow ochre, and a little bit of white. We're going to fill in the roof of the cabin first. Put a little more sienna in that mixture. I'm using my little crooker for that. I can actually see what I'm doing. My hand's not in my way. It may be in yours, but it's not in mine. Okay, there's a little side area here. Now I'm going to load with burn number and put the shadow. Oh, I forgot. I should have asked you, what are we going to do next? Because I bet you know. Shadow underneath the eaves of the roof. A shadow between the side roof and the top roof, and blend. Okay, now we have to make a decision right now. Where's our light going to come from? Let's let it come from this way. So that tells me that the front of the cabin is going to have to be a little bit lighter than the side. So I've used the same mixture. I've used the roof mixture and added more white. And now I've turned the bristles to the vertical position, and I have established boards by blending the roof mixture into the mixture that I painted the cabin. Now this side will go a little bit darker, so I'm just adding a lot more burn number for that side. Go a little bit darker because it's not catching any light, is it? Okay, let's put a little bit of blue on the edge of the roof. For this, I'm using cerulean blue and white. How about a little bit more right here? Notice that I don't take that blue all the way to the top of the roof. Do a little bit on the overhang. Overhang's too long, Norma. Cut it off. Okay, how about a doorway? These folks have to have a way to get in and out, don't they? Let's put us a doorway right there. We'll cut this cabin off just a tad right over here with the green mixture. And then we're going to highlight with the fan brush again. Fan brush, Norma, here we go. We're going to pull the highlight across, and this is going to nestle this cabin. Look, I'm letting my hand shake that so that I don't have a harsh straight line there. Okay, now there's another little bit of a highlight right here. No highlight on the front because that's where I'm going to fill that up with the bluebonnets in just a minute. Let's put a little more of a highlight here. Okay, there's a couple of trees that I think would add to the painting, and this is I'm just using dirty white for this. You don't have to see the mixture. You don't even have to worry about it. Just white with a little burnt umber or yellow ochre, some of the dirty green, whatever. I'm going to try to move my hand so you can see what I'm doing, and I hope you can. A couple over in this area to kind of give this a little added interest. Maybe another little sprig of one. Maybe we'll put just 2 or 3 together there. And then we'll pull the highlight across that. Why are we doing that? To push those backwards. Okay, I'm just dying to get into the Bluebonnets. I cannot take it. I love them so. I'm just going to feel like I'm right back there again. I'm going to underpaint them now with cerulean blue and white. Now, if you that have seen this, you know that they have little pink ones sprinkled here and there. I am just going to have to get out a little more white. Well, I'll put it here with my blue. Oh, my hands are so dirty. True artist, dirty hands, dirty clothes, paint all over your clothes all the time. Now I like this much better, got a lot more white in it. You know, the true Bluebonnets have pink ones sprinkled in. Now I'm certainly not trying to speak like an authority because I don't even know what you call those. But they add to the landscape when you have them. I mean, when you see them, and I've never seen the Bluebonnets without them. Have you ever thought about really going to move over to the left now and add a few? What, one little old Bluebonnet standing by itself, it wouldn't even be noticeable, would it? But when they clump together, they join together, they just make a sight that's known all over the whole world. Everybody knows about Bluebonnets. Because they did what? They joined together. They became one. Let's add a few more over here. And then I'm going to add just a few on this back bank too. Let's let them hang over here. Just going to put them everywhere. Let's put a few up here on this bank. Because I'm telling you, you just see miles, 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 miles. Oh, where do we want some more? Want a few here? Just a few here and just a few there. Okay, we need a few pink ones and we need some highlights in the path too. I'm going to put the pink flowers on. Then I'm going to highlight the path. And then I'll take a smaller brush and add a few. There we go. You always see these pink ones. Now somebody told me they're called paint brushes or something like that, but now I don't know that to be a fact. So do not quote me on that one. And a pink flower here and a pink flower there. Okay, we need to tap these down on this side. A little bit of dark paint's needed to do my tapping, isn't it? Okay, let's put a few little highlights in the path now. Let's use white and yellow ochre so that it won't look so flat. Now this is what I just call picking time. I just look around. If I see anything they want to do to it, I just do it. Sometimes you can just pick it a little bit too much, and you call that tookie. You just make your painting really ugly, overworked. It's really looking pretty good. I'm kind of tickled with it. Let's see. I know what. Let's add some birds in this guy and give it a little bit of life. For that, I'll use burnt umber and white. Roll my brush in my paint. I thin my paint, roll my brush to get a good sharp point. And let's put a bird here. See, that's already giving it life, just by adding something that is alive in it. Oh, maybe a bigger one here. And I'm not going to put those big old birds like they have in Texas. Those things could eat you. They could eat you alive. I'm going to soften a little bit right here. Maybe I'll add a little more of a highlight right up in here by the house. I think we need to add a little more. Oh, what's this color that I'm using? Burnt sienna. With the green, I think it would just be beautiful. Let's just add a tiny tad more here and here and there. Okay, now let me take a smaller brush. This is called a deer foot. And I'm just going to add 1 or 2 little bluebonnets just here and there that are just sort of hanging loose from the rest of the painting. Just kind of spotting them anywhere I can find a place that I think they'd be pretty. But now these couldn't be put way back in the background. These have to be, because they're bigger, they have to be in the foreground. I've taken a look at it and I think it's finished. I certainly have enjoyed working with you. I've enjoyed every minute of it.